Apple and Intel, two giants whose relationship once shaped the personal computing landscape, may be preparing for one of the most surprising reunions in modern tech history. After Apple famously cut ties with Intel in 2020 and transitioned to its own high-performance M-series processors, it seemed like the split was permanent. Many believed Apple had finally outgrown Intel, and Intel, struggling with delays and manufacturing issues, was no longer capable of meeting Apple's demands. But new reports suggest a plot twist. According to renowned analyst Ming-Chi Kuo, Apple is quietly exploring a major semiconductor partnership with Intel that could change everything, not by returning to Intel CPUs, but by allowing Intel to manufacture future Apple silicon chips using Intel's next-generation 2nm class process technology. This isn't just a business deal. This is a massive strategic shift that could reshape the manufacturing landscape, power the next generation of MacBooks and iPads, and possibly even redefine the global semiconductor industry. Let's break down this story in detail, layer by layer. 1. The history. Apple and Intel. A changing relationship. To understand the importance of this potential partnership, we need to revisit the past. For over a decade, Apple relied on Intel processors to power its Mac lineup. From 2006 to 2020, Intel dominated Apple's laptops and desktops, bringing strong performance and a stable platform. But in the late 2010s, Intel stumbled, struggling with chip delays, failing to meet thermal expectations, and once cutting-edge technology began to stagnate. Apple grew frustrated. MacBooks overheated, fans spun loudly, and performance improvements slowed. Meanwhile, Apple's own chip team, the one behind the A-series processors in iPhones and iPads, was advancing rapidly. In 2020, the breaking point came. Apple announced the M1 chip, the first Apple silicon SoC for Macs. It delivered better battery life, cooler temperatures, faster performance, greater efficiency. This was Apple's liberation from Intel, and many thought that was the end. But technology has a habit of surprising us, and in 2025, it appears Apple and Intel might be aligning once again. 2. Why Apple is looking back toward Intel. This new relationship has nothing to do with Intel designing chips and everything to do with Intel manufacturing them. Today, Apple designs its own chips, but it relies almost entirely on TSMC for production. While TSMC is extremely advanced and reliable, it represents a central point of risk. Geopolitical tensions around Taiwan. Most of TSMC's leading-edge fabs, including 3nm and upcoming 2nm production lines, are located in Taiwan. Rising global tension, especially between China and Taiwan, means Apple cannot afford to rely on a single region for its most critical components. An interruption, political or natural, could disrupt Apple's entire Mac and iPad lineup. The supply chain diversification. Apple is famous for planning decades ahead. Just as it diversified manufacturing across China, India, and Vietnam for physical devices, it now wants to diversify fabrication across multiple foundries. C. Support for U.S. manufacturing. The U.S. government has put significant pressure on major tech companies to bring semiconductor manufacturing back to American soil. Intel represents a strong opportunity, especially with the CHIPS Act providing billions in investment for advanced fabs. D. Apple's long-term growth. As Apple moves toward AI-powered processors, mixed reality devices, advanced ultra-low power computing, it needs more production capacity than TSMC alone can offer. Intel provides a second path. 3. Intel's 18AP process, the technology at the center of the deal. The partnership revolves around Intel's 18AP node, a 2nm class technology expected to go into production around 2025 to 2026. What makes Intel's 18AP special? Intel's 18A process includes technologies that could give it a competitive edge over other manufacturers. Ribbon FET, Intel's version of gate-all-around transistors. Power via backside power delivery that increases performance and energy efficiency. Advanced packaging capabilities for stacking chips and increasing density. The 18AP variant adds packaging optimization, making it especially suitable for complex Apple silicon designs. 4. What Apple is doing right now. Testing Intel's 18AP kit. According to Kuo, Apple has already signed a non-disclosure agreement with Intel to access its 18AP 0.9.1 PDK, the early development kit used for designing chips. This kit allows Apple's engineering team to model transistor behavior, simulate the performance of future cores, test power efficiency, begin early floor plan prototypes, evaluate density targets for future M-series chips. These early experiments are essential for evaluating whether Intel's 2nm technology is viable for Apple's needs. This work is already happening quietly, behind closed doors. 5. The crucial moment. Intel's PDK 1.0/1.1 arriving in Q1 2026. While Apple is exploring early designs now, the big decision comes in 2026, when Intel delivers the next version of the process design kit, PDK 1.0/1.1. This is the version Apple needs to finalize chip architecture, lock in transistor libraries, begin pre-production workflows, prepare the manufacturing pipeline. If the technology meets Apple's expectations, full-scale production begins in 2027. If not, Apple sticks with TSMC's N2P process, which already has a strong head start. This means Intel's entire foundry revival may hinge on Apple's decision in 2026. 6. Why Intel needs Apple more than Apple needs. Intel's semiconductor foundry business, Intel Foundry Services, is attempting a massive comeback. After losing manufacturing leadership to TSMC and Samsung, Intel has been pushing itself to become competitive again. Intel's goals. Intel wants to restore its manufacturing leadership, prove that the US can produce world-leading chips, attract major customers to its foundry, break even by 2027. Apple is the ultimate customer that would validate this comeback. Yield improvement. Kuo reports Intel's yields for 18A are improving by roughly 7% every month. That's a strong sign that Intel is aggressively optimizing its manufacturing pipeline. If Intel secures Apple, it becomes a major symbol of reliability. Other companies, Qualcomm, AMD, Nvidia, may place orders. Intel's foundry business gains instant credibility. Its position as a TSMC competitor strengthens globally. This would be one of the biggest wins for Intel in the last 15 years. 7. What this means for Apple devices, MacBook Air and iPad Pro. If everything proceeds smoothly, Intel-built Apple Silicon could appear in consumer devices around 2027. Likely candidates: MacBook Air, 2027 models. iPad Pro 2027-2028 models. These chips would still be designed by Apple's internal silicon engineering team. Intel's role is purely manufacturing. What users may get: higher performance at lower power, better thermal management, increased battery life, more consistent yields across suppliers, and most importantly, Apple avoids the risk of relying on a single foundry. 8. Why this is a full-circle tech moment. There is a poetic irony to this story. Apple left Intel because Intel couldn't keep up. Today, Intel wants to become Apple's most advanced manufacturing partner. This potential comeback shows the cyclical nature of technology. Companies rise. Companies fall. Companies reinvent themselves. If Intel successfully manufactures Apple's future M-series chips, it marks a historic reversal. Intel returning to Apple not as a bottleneck, but as a lifeline for manufacturing excellence. 9. What this means for the semiconductor industry if Intel succeeds with Apple's 2nm production. The impact will be enormous. Global implications. The US becomes a leader in advanced chip manufacturing again. Supply chains shift away from geopolitical hotspots. Competition increases, driving faster innovation. Other tech giants evaluate Intel's fabs for future orders for TSMC. TSMC won't lose Apple, but it may face stronger competition. This competition could accelerate. 1.4nm process nodes. Better yields. More advanced packaging solutions for Intel. This might be the event that defines Intel's future for the next decade. 10. The final picture. A deal that could change tech forever. The Apple-Intel relationship is no longer about CPUs. It's now about something much bigger. The future of global chip manufacturing. If all the milestones line up, we could see Intel-produced Apple Silicon chips, US-based manufacturing for some Apple devices, faster adoption of next-gen nodes, a safer, more diversified supply chain for Apple. Intel's re-entry into the league of top-tier manufacturers. But until Intel delivers its PDK 1.0/1.1 in early 2026, everything remains a giant, high-stakes maybe. Both companies appear optimistic but cautious. 2027 could mark the beginning of a groundbreaking new chapter in Apple's chip evolution and Intel's manufacturing comeback.